And just like that, 2023 is over, and now the shenanigans start about all of this talk in the offseason. And I'm going to start it right here today on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Jaguars. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. Quick to remind you that we are free to subscribe to on our YouTube page. That is Locked On Jaguars. That's where you are now, I think. And wherever you get your podcasts, on an audio perspective, make sure you tap in there every single day to make sure you don't miss an episode. Now, at Locked On Jaguars on YouTube, what you do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to make sure that you receive notifications every time we drop an episode. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code all lowercase Locked On NFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Thank you to the everydayers who are joining me again. And if you're not an everydayer, you can't be. Just join every single day too. Before y'all say one thing about my choice of eyewear, I don't know if y'all watched the show Kanan, but there's a character on there that wears these glasses. His name is Ronnie, and he's a silent killer. I'm not going to be a silent killer today. I'm going to kill out loud. Kill this notion that a lot of people, some people have a way of saying stuff without saying nothing at all, right? We're going to end that today. This is the no fake zone, all right? This is just the real deal. Here's what we're going to talk about. The fact that 2023 is over. Trevor Lawrence. We're going to hit him first and often. Trent, Doug, and Press. That whole bunch. And then we'll get to fans' emotions, which they should be out of control right now because, well, they didn't deserve what happened to them. The fans did not deserve, even though there was something earlier this year I saw, and if you watch this podcast, you'll know I told you. And I even said it yesterday, man. I hate to be that guy, but I tried to warn y'all. There was just something in this team, man, that I didn't like, and there's some stuff that's missing that you can't win without, right? But let's get to the show at hand. We're going to be able to dissect all of the Jaguars' issues because we're going to have months to do it. We ain't got to worry about no playoff game, that's for sure. And this is the part, too, that if you don't like people being self-deprecators, then you're not going to like me today because when I say we, I'm talking about all of us. So if I throw a shot at the Jaguars, I'm throwing a shot at myself too, right? So the best thing that you can be is be self-deprecating when it's obvious to everyone that you got egg on your face, that you're just not as good as you thought we were. Are we going to say that about Trevor Lawrence now? That he's not as good as we thought he was? There are a lot of people hit me up with got you tweets from me going back and forth with Richard Sherman saying that he is a franchise quarterback. You're right, I did. There's a lot of people that can go back in our episodes, and I say the Jags got their man. You damn right I did. There's a lot of y'all that can go back to episodes this time last year. I say they can't do it, but if I would, I'd go ahead and start formulating in my mind how are you going to extend Trevor Lawrence and not get it done the first day of the new year when he's eligible, which is the beginning of year 4. You damn right I said it. I sound like that dude that was in A Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson, Colonel Jessup. You damn right I said it. And I'm not going to back away from the fact that I said it. But now here's the magic trick. I'm going to do something that a lot of y'all who are sending me that kind of stuff failed to do. You know what you failed to do? You fail to correct yourself when you see something right in your face that smacks you right upside your head. You're so afraid that people are going to dig up things that you said in the past, and you're so afraid that folks are going to say gotcha, and you're so afraid that somebody's going to say you were wrong about something, so that takes your credibility away down the line that you won't sit here and say, I need to correct myself. So what I'm going to tell you is this. I'm not wrong, and I wasn't wrong in the way that I felt then. How can I be wrong about right now about something that I felt then? I don't want to be wrong now that if I'm still saying I feel the same way about something that I felt about something then. That's what makes me wrong. That would make me a world-class idiot. That would make me lose credibility, that if I see something right in my face and I still want to tell you based on the logic that I had back then, which was based on what I was seeing back then, and tell you that thing is true right now. It's not. I ain't giving Trevor no money if I'm Shah Khan this year. Are you crazy? Why would I give somebody that kind of money that turns the ball over? Does that mean that I think everything around him was not? You got to be on Mars if you haven't been listening to the Locked On Jaguars podcast. And I've been criticizing Trent Baalke since the day he got the job. In fact, I said I wish they didn't give him the job, and they did. But what happens is when you have some success, you give somebody their credit, you back off a little bit, and you say, hey, maybe I was wrong. Let me take a look and see. Turns out I probably wasn't. But while it was going on, you look like an idiot. You can sit there and say, yeah, he messed up this, he messed up that. When obviously some things that they did got them to put to the point where they were okay. I asked folks this season, what do you want most? Do you want to live vicariously in the past and say, man, I'll just settle for competence. All I need is competent football from here on out. That's all I want. Because we've been bad for so long, I just want us to be competitive and normal. I just want us to not be the worst at what we do. That's the kind of stuff that people say when they are the worst at what they do. I want to be the best. And I ask folks, would you raise your level of expectation up? Now all I'm getting is woe is me. If it makes you feel better to say, man, well, at least we ain't like we used to be. Had nothing to do with nothing. If you lose 100 pounds, right, and you gain 30 of them back, and I say, hey, man, you're not doing the right things you need to do. Well, at least I'm still 70 pounds lower than I was. No, I'm telling you that if you don't stop, you're going to gain all of that damn weight back. I ain't telling you to just be happy with the fact that you're 70 pounds low. How about you weigh 30 pounds more than you weighed 2 weeks ago? That's what I'm talking about. We can't keep projecting this woe is me, losers mentality. Let me correct it. I'm not going to call people losers. We can't keep projecting it's okay. Just be patient. If you want to feel that way, that's fine. But stop coming on social media telling everybody else they're supposed to feel that way. You want your oatmeal in the morning, peanut butter and jelly for lunch, meatloaf at night. Hey, man, I was poor when I was a kid, man. That's cool with me for about 2 days. And then I want some steak. I don't sit here and go through my life all mediocre like that and just say, it's fine. And the rest of you should join right along with me. We're having oatmeal with warm milk later. Man, the hell with that. Y'all, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to be, then fine. Don't project that over here. I want to talk about Trevor. So I'm going to extend that into, I just got 38 hot, and I told y'all I was going to be Ronnie today. And we're live. We're absolutely live. We are all the way live right now. Look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to push this down a little bit. I'm going to talk to Trevor, and I'm going to be honest. Not as if I wasn't honest for the last 9 minutes, because I was. But I'm going to be even more honest when I tell you how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to do that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. All right, man, I got to let y'all know about PrizePicks, man. PrizePicks is the absolute truth. It is the largest daily fantasy sports in America. That's right. The largest platform where you can play daily fantasy sports. And here's the thing. This is what I really, really like about it. It's just you and the computer. It ain't you and a bunch of sharks and a bunch of pros and a bunch of people that all they do all day is just sit there and figure out a way how to beat you in these games. No, it's just you against the computer. They have these player stat projections. And all you got to do is say more than or less than. And if you do it, you can choose between 2 and 6 players, right? Or 2 and 6 items. And if you do that, you can win. But only if you go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL in all lowercase. That's right. For a deposit match up to $100. Now, listen, I'll say it again. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Make sure you put Locked On NFL in all lowercase. It's PrizePicks.com. All right, man, running it down here on Locked On Jaguars. We're at your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. All right, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had just completed his third season. Trevor Lawrence, the Jacksonville quarterback, was a first-round pick. That means he's under contract for a minimum of 4 years, and then if a team wants to exercise the fifth-year option, they can do that as well. Just think of it the way Josh Allen is this year. Josh Allen is playing under his fifth-year option this year. That's the difference between guys that are picked in the first round as opposed to guys that are picked in the second round. You can make a decision later. Now, the decision of whether or not they want to pick up the fifth-year option, they're going to have to do that at some point, I believe, before or right around the start of the season. So it's stats from this season. Trevor Lawrence's stats for this year. I'll pull those up right now. It's not that great, not terrible, but not that great. 370 completions and 564 attempts. 4,000 yards. He did hit the 4,000-yard mark. 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 88.5 rating. Okay. His career, those numbers are a little bit higher from a completion percentage-wise. He has 11,700 yards for his career. 58 touchdowns, 39 interceptions. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good quarterback. I do. I still feel that way. That hasn't changed. Surprise, it hasn't changed. I still think Trevor Lawrence is going to be good. If I had to decide today, as opposed to 2 years from now, whether or not I was going to pay him to be the next quarterback to get paid, and for all those people that think that he's going to take a discount for some reason, or he's not going to top whoever the last guy who got paid, that's not correct. Because the way that this works, all you got to do is look at it. Whatever the last guy got, then the next guy's going. Whether you Kirk Cousins set the market at one point. Okay, so whatever the last guy got doesn't mean that even if you're less than him. No, when it's your turn, it's your turn. And they set that up like that for a reason. And this is just my guess is that that's the way the union wants it. You get a lot of money because the guy before you got a lot of money. Don't be taking no discounts. This only works because if it's your turn, you go get paid, so the next guy can get paid. How are you going to get $400 million and turn the faucet off for everybody else? So that's not going to happen. Trevor Lawrence, if I had to make a decision today, I wouldn't do it. And that's all I'm telling people. I was all on board for the first day that you were eligible or able to do it, just to go ahead and knock it off and do it. But guess what? I can't do it now. I absolutely can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's a good thing that they don't have to make that decision. Because if they had to make that decision, then they'd either, in my opinion, make the wrong decision, or they make a decision that would bring them a whole bunch more pain and controversy, because it's not just about what you think. It's about what other people around you believe. Believe it or not, players care, especially free agents. They care who's quarterbacking the team. If they're talking about trying to win. Wide receivers, they care about who's going to be throwing them the ball if they have options. All of those things matter. The only thing I'm telling you is this: with the amount of turnovers that he has, that is not franchise quarterback money. And I didn't say every quarterback that came up was going to be the next guy who was the most highest paid. No, it's just a select few. It's the guys that you are absolutely sure are one of the 10 best guys in the league. It's not just everybody now. You're going to get a lot of free agent quarterbacks that's going to be out there, and they ain't going to get, Jameis Winston is one of them. And that's what I keep mentioning. And here's the thing. You get to sit on a podcast, or you get to sit on social media and say, I believe he's still good, therefore I'd pay him. Because belief ain't got nothing to do with with reality. My point is I'm saying this, if I was them, I wouldn't pay him because he hasn't shown you what he's supposed to be showing you to get paid. I don't want to sit here. It's like I said something to somebody earlier today. I said, this is almost telling Jaguar fans who have had this expectation built up for 3 years that Trevor Lawrence was this, and this, and maybe even longer for that. If you're a guy who just does this for a living and it's a hobby or whatever, and you're sitting here thinking that years ago that Trevor was going to be good, just like I did, right? It is more difficult for you to realize that he may not be than it is to tell a 6-year-old that Santa Claus don't exist. I'm sorry for breaking your heart. I ain't really the one that's doing it though. It's just that, man, we were wrong. Just like I said earlier, I was wrong. It's okay. I know in this world we live in, people say that you shouldn't admit that you're wrong. Yeah, you don't admit that you're wrong. If you think it's going to matter to people that know you're wrong, you're right. If I know you're wrong about something and you don't want to admit it, and that's what it is. And that's the disconnect. And I'm going to talk to the fans about their emotions and all of that stuff in segment 3. For me, I wouldn't do it. That doesn't mean I get rid of him or even be looking for his replacement, but I make him show me next year. And it doesn't mean that just because you feel that way that you don't know that the interior offensive line isn't right, that they don't have that one guy who is just a bad ball catcher with a major catch radius. They just don't have it. The running game isn't working. They've been moving the guys around in the offensive line. I know all of that. I've been telling y'all about Trent Baalke. I get it. But there are some things that you can see, like if you're sitting next to a visiting person who used to play in the NFL, who is now on the radio or TV, who happens to be sitting next to a Hall of Famer who played quarterback, and you look down at the press box and there's another dude that has a Super Bowl ring, and he used to be a head coach. And every time you turn around, what you hear is, why didn't he do that? So you saw it too, but then you say, are you talking about the guy on the other side in the flat? Yeah, man, it's 4th and 2. Why didn't you just throw the ball to him? Why didn't you throw the ball 25 yards down the field? And over and over and over, these repeated things that you see, and you keep doing it, and then you start second guessing yourself a little bit. And so here's the thing: when Richard Sherman goes, he ain't franchised, and I argued that. I said, to me, I didn't think you could make that determination yet. He was sure on it. He said, nope, he's not this. I haven't even got to that point yet. To make a determination. And for the record, folks coming at me as if by me saying I wouldn't extend him are saying that that's making a determination. No, it isn't. It means I haven't had one yet. You saying you give him the money, even though based on what you've seen, you still give him the money, that means you have made a determination. But you made that online. You wouldn't make that determination. Maybe you would. If you make that determination, if you really had to do it and sign him up, then you'd have some explaining to do. Because I haven't said I wouldn't do it. I just said I wouldn't do it yet. I said I wouldn't do it early. I don't know, and folks call you dumb and say you don't know football if that's how you feel. No, dumb is I don't know how you can look at what you just looked at and say you'll still give him the money before you actually have to make that decision to do it. That's what I think is silly. Because while we can talk about all the things around Trevor Lawrence, and they exist, and we can point to the other good things about him, and they exist, you can talk about his toughness. That is the truth. You can talk about his arm talent in terms of being able to make throws that a whole bunch of people can't make. That's true. Sometimes, though, you know what a real, and I'm gonna hit you with it now. You ready? You know what a real skill is? It's not just being able to make throws that other people can't. It's making the routine throws that they make more routinely than you do. There you go. How about sometimes you don't need to be spectacular? We need you to be routine. Can you be routine? Consistently? Or we want to be Jameis Winston or Jay Cutler, and then you still want me to give you $150 million. What kind of sense that make? I bet if y'all go ask Trevor Lawrence this right now, I bet if somebody could go over there and ask Trevor Lawrence this right now and say, assess your performance. The Trevor I think I know would say, I need to get a whole bunch better. There were things that I could have done. And then I'd turn around and try if I could and squeeze all the faces of the people that think he ain't doing nothing wrong. And I point to him and say, you heard what he said? Did you hear it? Third and final segment. I'm going to talk about Trent, Doug, press, and the fans. We'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. What up, y'all? Time for me to talk about FanDuel with y'all because FanDuel is the absolute truth. It's got to be at least 5 years in a row I've been telling y'all about FanDuel, man. So I know for a fact that y'all got to be on FanDuel, but I'm going to give you a little bit of incentive right now to talk about it. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Hear me again. I didn't say win. I said new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. You get $150 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet. Live same game parlays, find bets on the new Explore tab, all that and more on FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bet an absolute layup or a quarterback sneak touchdown. I'll say it again, FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bet a layup. All right, third and final segment here on Locked On Jaguars. Wasn't able to get to a whole bunch of comments and start reading a bunch of comments here. I do apologize for that because it's just been wild here today, man. I do have to tell you about Locked On's new streaming service. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On. Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, man, look. Let me get off Trevor a little bit, and I'll just go back up to the top. I don't know what they're going to do in the front office, but I fire Trent. I get rid of him. I don't think this team, and I'm going to tell you right now, whether they get rid of him or not, I don't think this team is going to ever be a team that reaches its full potential with him as the GM. That's just it, period, point blank. Doug Peterson, let me put him and Press together since that's what people fail to do. Folks are saying he won't fire his boy. I don't know. He might. If he gets the need to do it, maybe he does. I don't know if he fires him or not. But if he fires him, he ought to be firing a part of himself too, which is why I don't think he'd do it. When fans say it's all on Press, everything with the hell with Press and everything with, let me tell you the benefit of saying that you get or that you get, and you can say that with such ease, is because Press wasn't standing right there next to you every day. Press wasn't standing, and I'm not talking about from the aspect of firing him per se, as if he ain't, like he's untouchable. That's not what I'm saying. Here's where I'm coming from with it. The reason why you're so easily feel that way is because you weren't the one that groomed him. You weren't the one that sits there every day and goes over the game plan with him. You're not the one that actually listens to the plays get called in. So you mean to tell me that all of these bad plays and all of these bad game plans and all of this bad teaching, not only do I sit here and I watch it every single day and I watch it happen every single day, but I'm the one who taught him that stuff. So if I fire him, then I need to be firing myself because I'm here every day and I'm watching it. I'm literally helping him build a game plan, or he's helping me do it. I'm listening to the plays he's calling. Hell, I taught him all the plays that he's calling. So basically what y'all saying is I need to fire myself because y'all don't have the benefit of whether or not you think he's doing a bad job. How can the person who's telling him to do this, who taught him how to do it, who's watching him do it in real time, think that he's done a bad job when he's literally done every single thing he's taught him and is continuing to tell him to do every single day? That's why I say that there's been this disconnect. And every time you want to talk about firing Press, I'm telling you, if he does that, that gives Balky a reprieve. You've been distracted. There's this video online where this dude is feeding a lion and he's throwing this stuff over a fence, this meat, big chunks of meat. Look like he got 30 pounds of meat, look like a chuck roast. And the lion is looking right at him. And you think he'd follow the meat if he's hungry, because hungry people will devour anything. And it's a distraction. That lion looked right at him the whole time and would not change the way that he was looking, because his problem wasn't that he was hungry. He didn't want to eat anything. I want you. Do you want the truth? Or you want what makes you feel good? The truth is I don't know how Doug Peterson feels about whether or not Press Taylor did what he was supposed to do. Not if Press did everything Doug taught him and showed him how to do and approved of it, and in real time sat there and didn't think it was a bad idea. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they go and look at film and realize the reason it didn't work was either somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, or they did and they just ain't good enough at it, or I knew it wasn't going to work, but it's the best thing we had, considering there was a whole bunch of other things in here we want to do that can't work. And they can't work because we don't have the people to do it, because the dude upstairs didn't give us the folks we need. And everybody telling me to fire you when what they need to do is fire him. So everything that people say about that, I just sit here and go, why are we talking about Press Taylor? Do you ever notice that the same folks that tell you that Mike Caldwell needs to get fired are the same folks who will get mad at the players that run that fraudulent defense? That is the reason why they want Mike Caldwell to get fired. They want to fire the coach and the player. And sometimes that's true. But do you notice that those people, when you criticize Trevor, are so quick to tell you all the other things that are going on and the coaching and Press Taylor, and they can do all, you can't say nothing about. See, at least I afford people the ability to talk about Caleb Von Chase's son and Mike Caldwell at the same time. And Roy Robinson Harris and Mike Caldwell at the same time. And Devin Lloyd, definitely Devin Lloyd and Michael, you can talk about them together. You say something about Trevor, and it's not as if you can see two things happening at one time. It's not like you can have an opinion that goes both ways. It's not like both people can be covered. If you mention Trevor, they immediately mention all the other stuff and then want to insulate him as if what you saw isn't real, and they just want to pull that back because it makes them feel better. Because it's like telling a 6-year-old that Santa Claus ain't real. I ain't telling you not real. I'm just telling you don't have to anoint him yet financially, because you don't have to. But those are the emotions that fans can have. I told y'all a long time ago, I'm a fan of Jacksonville, Florida. Everything else that supports that and makes it better and makes it glow and makes it light up, then y'all like my cousins. But my love for Jacksonville, the people, I love the team too, but I got a job to do. And my job ain't to sit here and just be a fanboy. And my job ain't to tell you how to think. My job is to say, this is how I think. And look, maybe you can add some of this to your perspective, or maybe you can't. But one thing you're not going to tell me to do is that everything is everybody else's fault and ain't none of it Trevor's fault. And that the Jaguars should just go ahead and back up a Brinks truck and pay him when they don't even have to yet. No, man, y'all ain't going to tell me that. That ain't going to happen. Y'all want to know why I got these glasses on today? Go look at Kanan. Look at this. You can even Google it. Google the show Kanan and Google Ronnie. Find out what Ronnie is. Ronnie's a certified killer. Metaphorically speaking, that's what I tried to do here today. I tried to kill any of this BS and this notion that y'all can't have an opinion about Trevor Lawrence just because in people's imagination, he was the next coming of everything. I told folks, and if you haven't heard this podcast, when I said they better insulate him and they better put everything around him that you're supposed to and support him in every single way. And the other part of this argument is this: he could very well have been exactly on draft day what we all envisioned, including me. And then he could very well not be right now. And then we wonder what happened. Was he ever that? He could have been. But the thing that folks aren't sitting here and trying to understand is this. Carson Wentz was too, and he was almost an MVP. And then what happened to him? What happens to confidence? What happens to a quarterback? And sometimes these guys get drafted high and they get bad coaching and they get coached into and beaten into never becoming what they were supposed to become because they can't overcome the trauma that they had when they first got into the league. Now, what has Trevor Lawrence experienced early in his career? And now this little fall from grace and with the injuries and maybe with for the first time, fans being discontent with it, having discontent with the way he plays. There is something to come back from, whether it was there on draft night or whether the first 3 years of his career created it. Stop acting like all of this stuff is perfect all the time and you got to hold on to some evaluation you had back then, even though you've seen 3 straight years in the NFL. Y'all take care of each other, man. I got a feeling we're going to be here not just all week. We're going to be here for the rest of the offseason. Until next time, man, y'all take care of each other. Stop arguing so much on social media and just respect everybody else's opinions. This is Tony Wiggins for Locked On Jaguars.